My name is Wanda Allen Abraha. I'm the director of the Human Relations Department, and the College Advisory Board is one of the boards that has been assigned to our department to administer and manage. And so we're really excited to be working with you because you are a very unique population and you have a lot to add to the community's voice and to a lot of what needs to be known and heard at City Hall, which is where we are. So I think at this time, the best thing for us to do is to take an opportunity to do self-introductions. And so I would like to, I know you've already somewhat met Jamie, but I'll have Jamie to get us started. And then we will go to any veteran CAB members we have on the call. And any staff too, Jamie, Carlin, veteran CAB members, and then we'll go on to those of you who are newly appointed. Please state your name, your school, and what year you are. Thank you.
So my name is Jamie Waldeck. I am the outreach specialist for the Human Relations Department, and I am the staff support for College Advisory Board. So you all will get lots of emails from me, and we just ask that you respond to them so that we know that you all are out there and doing great things at your schools. So.
Hi, everybody. My name is Carlin Duncan. I'm the intake specialist as well as the administrative assistant for the Human Relations Department.
I guess I'll go next. My name is Curtis Walker. I'm a student at Forsyth Technical Community College. I'm one of the veterans on CAB, and I'm from 2021, and so I'm from Forsyth again. So.
Hi, I'm Allie. I'm from Wake Forest University. I'm a junior, so I'll be graduating at the end of next year, and I also served on CAB last year.
Okay, we don't have any more CAB veterans, so those of you who are new to CAB, would you please self-introduce? Name, year, and school. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Jadavian King. I'm a student at Winston-Salem State University, majoring in healthcare management.
I guess I'll go next. Hi, everybody. My name is Bruce Williams III. I am a senior healthcare management major at Winston-Salem State University.
I'll go next. My name is Myra Ramirez. I'm a senior at Salem College.
Hi, my name is Paulina Page. I'm from Forsyth Tech Community College, and this is my second year.
I apologize. My mouth is a little numb. I went to the dentist this morning. My name is Ian Brewster. I'm in my second year at Forsyth Tech Community College, and my program is business administration.
Hi, my name is Faith Springs. I am at Forsyth Tech Community College as well, and I am a sophomore in the engineering program.
Is that everyone? I think it is. Okay. Well, welcome. Welcome again to the veterans and to the new appointees. We really, again, are excited to have you on the College Advisory Board. And please know that the College Advisory Board is a very important function of city government. You all are appointed, not just or nominated by your schools, but you're also appointed by the mayor and the city council. So you are ambassadors who represent your respective colleges and universities. So please know that it's a big deal. We're really hoping that you will make the most of your time with CAB and get to know others from other schools. And also, I hope you will use this as a really good way to share your thoughts and your opinions and your recommendations with the city council and with our department. Because the whole purpose of CAB, again, is to represent your peer group. We want to hear from college students who are local on matters that pertain to housing, transportation, social justice, whatever is relevant and important to you at this time, we want to know about so that we can determine how city government can support and assist with furthering whatever it is that you may be in need of. So again, thanks. Any veteran members want to take over now and talk about CAB? What CAB does, what your experiences have been like, talk about some of the projects and programs and so forth. So veterans, I'm turning it over to you now.
Curtis, if you want to talk about like the committees.
Okay, so I guess we'll jump right into it. So there are some things that we definitely need to cover as, so we have an executive committee that's CAB, and it has a chair, vice chair, secretary, and historian. We also have committees, which are community projects, government affairs, and public relations. Specifically, I was in public relations last year. So public relations, we actually are going out when we have events, recording those events, writing articles that go in the official newsletter, as well as taking pictures. Government affairs, we have the opportunity to go down to city council to see the inner going-ons of city council and how those things are run, to be there for the issues that are presented for the city. And then obviously there's community projects. I think one of the great community projects that we always look forward to is the Collegiate Trust Talks, as well as last year we had the opportunity to be involved. I don't remember the name of the event, but it had something to do with gentrification and the community housing, as well as redlining. So as Ms. Wanda did note already, that one, we're an official board of the city, and so we have rules that we are bound by. And then the other part of it is that we get to be involved in the inner workings of government. It's a really unique experience. You get to see councilwomen, councilmen, obviously work with the mayor, work with Ms. Carlin, work with Ms. Jamie, work with Ms. Wanda, and get out into the community and be an actively involved in that. So that's a really great experience. I guess we'll get to the elected positions in a minute. So I'll turn it back over to Allie and let Allie tell her experience.
Last year was definitely really exciting to get to serve on CAB. We ended up working a lot on Collegiate Trust Talks, and then eventually it got canceled because of coronavirus. So that was really disappointing. But it was really interesting to get to serve on a board with students of so many different colleges, especially because a lot of us get in our routine and then we don't interact with each other, but we all live in the same place, so it's really important. But it was just really interesting. I served on governmental affairs, so we emphasized going to the city council meetings, which is something that a lot of students at Wake Forest definitely don't do. So that was really interesting. And the whole time on Winston-Salem, College Advisory Board was just really, I think, beneficial.
I don't think Cameron's on with us, Ms. Wanda, so I guess that's just us two.
Curtis, did you want to share any more about personal experiences or any of the work that was done by CAB too? Thank you, Allie.
Yeah, I think from a personal experience, it's kind of unique that one, I get a chance to work with other students. I think Miss Winston-Salem was Taylor Walker last year. She was on CAB with us. Got a chance to work with Allie, Maura, Cameron. And I think the great thing is that you see a variety of perspectives and opinions from different backgrounds. We all come from various places. We're all at various places in our collegiate careers, and we're all going to be moving on from our collegiate careers to bigger and better things. So I think that that's the most the important thing that I get from it is just being around different people, hearing their opinions, and then learning how to work together. I think that in a professional environment, that's a skill. Being able to work with people that you don't necessarily see things from the same angle or perspective. And I think being on the CAB allows us to gain that type of maturity and that experience as we go forth into different venues and different things that we might experience in our life. So it's very important that you take advantage of this opportunity, because I think it can only enhance you as a person, and it also can enhance you professionally. So there's a great amount of experience that you can glean from this, even though it's in 1 year. I think one of the great advances Allie talked about was the Collegiate Trust Talks. And even though we didn't have it from the city level, we were able to have Collegiate Trust Talks at Forsyth Technical Community College last year. And so basically what we took was the template that we would normally use for the city, And we applied that to Forsyth Technical Community College, and the district attorney was there, as well as several police officials, as well as the staff of Forsyth Tech. So that was great to hear, not only from their side, but also from the community side, about how to interact and make our communities better, safer, and then also working amongst each other, learning, creating ideas of how we can make our campuses better. So there was a lot of discussion about that as well. So again, I would just say that there's a lot to glean from this. We don't know where the conversations and discussions will lead us, but I can tell you that it's always beneficial and it's always positive. So there's some great people on CAB. We have great leadership. A lot of things going on. I actually got the chance to go to Ms. Wanda's church, which is really interesting, meet her husband. Then we had, oh my goodness, this one, what was that event where what's her name? She came and we were at, I think it was Carver. That was a great event. And so there's a lot that goes on. We obviously did the March for Homelessness. We were there at the Pride event. And so you're going to get out and you're going to see things and be able to just kind of infuse that into your own personal life and see all the great things that the city is doing, because we don't necessarily hear about that because we're so, separated into our own lives and our own space. With that, I'll just turn it back over to Ms. Wanda.
Excellent job, Curtis, and thank you. Thank you for sharing a little bit more about what your experiences were like with CAB last year. And we've been joined by another veteran. We have Ms. Cameron out. Where did Cameron go that fast? There you go, Cameron. Hi there. We just did self-introductions, and it's so good to see you, Ms. Cameron. I'd like for you to do the same. State your name, school, and your year. And then they were sharing a little bit about what CAB is about and what some personal experiences were. So we'll defer to you now, Cameron, please.
Okay, great. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much. And it's so nice seeing you all for the first time or again. Like Miss Wanda said, I'm Cameron. I'm a senior at Wake Forest University, and I'm majoring in politics and international affairs. And CAB was definitely an interesting experience while I was able to be there. And I felt like it was an experience where we could really engage with the community outside of our campus life that wasn't really available or accessible in those ways. So it was really interesting to be able to brainstorm some ideas about how we can leverage our college experience into the community and how that can be brought back to our spaces as well. So I'm excited for CAB this year, and I look forward to seeing more of you all.
Thank you, Cameron. Welcome back to CAB. Miss Sophie Brown, I don't think we had a chance to have you to self-introduce. So would you mind introducing yourself and telling us your school and your year?
Hi guys, can you hear me? Okay, so my name's Sophie Brown. I go to Wake Forest University, and I am a junior studying sociology and psychology.
Wonderful, thank you and welcome. And so let's pause for a moment, because I know we probably hit you, especially the new appointees to CAB, with a lot of information. And so do you have any questions at all at this point, either for myself or for Jamie, Carlin, or anybody, any of the veterans on CAB? Does anybody have any questions? This is a great time to ask. Do you need clarification about anything? Yes, Sophie.
Where will I be able to access the recording so I can get the first 15 to 20 minutes of this? I had class until 12:15 and just found a spot.
It will be on the city's YouTube channel. And so it is being live streamed now, and it will be on the city's YouTube channel for whenever you want to access it. How about any other questions? Okay, well, we're going to move on. And veterans, what I'd like for you to do now is to talk about the officers. That is next on the agenda, I do believe. And so we want to talk about elections, officers, and committees. I think you all touched on committees already, but could you just review once again, as a part of what you talk about right now for this segment, what each committee is responsible for doing? So over to Curtis, Allie, and Cameron.
Kim, I guess I'll go. All right, so I guess dealing with committees. So there are three committees. Again, there's the community projects, there's government affairs, and there's public relations. Last year, I'll let Cameron deal with government affairs because she was on the committee last year, and as well as Allie, and I'll just deal with public relations because I was on public relations with Sharon. So public relations, again, we are tasked with writing the official newsletter. If you Google City of Winston-Salem College Advisory Board, you will see newsletters from the previous CAB sessions from 2019, 2018. So those letters, those newsletters were actually made by the CAB members. What you will find in there, generally the first in the fall will be the introductory of the CAB members, as well as different articles. Last year, let's see, I can't remember exactly, but there was the introduction from Alexandra. She was the chair last year. And then whatever events that were going on, we kind of record those events and then present those events to Ms. Jamie, who then kind of puts it, streamlines it, and then puts it into the newsletter. The other thing in public relations, again, is that we handle, we take pictures of our meetings. Like in this case, we're not together. So, and also the event. So whatever event that is going on, we try to record that visually, as well as we try to record it, obviously, in written words. And so that's pretty much what public relations does. And then the government part, I'll just turn it over to Cameron and Allie, and they can tell you more about government.
Okay, everyone. So the Government Affairs Committee really tries to be active and engaged with the government section of CAB, making sure you're attending different city council meetings and also recording those meetings as well as other events that are going on to present as a final copy to the city council once CAB is wrapped up for the academic year. And so within that, we're able to learn a little bit more about how the city works and how we're connected as college students in the city and what is offered. We also try to get involved in what we can provide, like learning more about internship roles that the city may offer and how to get involved in those prospects, as well as what our post-college career may look like if we want to stay in Winston-Salem, what is offered, and how we can take that back to our college campuses and let it be known. So if Allie has anything to add,
I think you did a great job explaining it. I definitely agree with all of that. I think one thing that hasn't come up is that if you feel so inclined, at least as for how everything worked last year, is you can be on multiple committees at one time.
Great point, Allie. Thank you for saying that. And Cameron and Curtis, great job. Thank you so much. Does anybody have questions, once again, about the committees? Okay. Now let's talk about the office.
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I do have a question. So we went over public relations and government affairs, but no one kind of touched on the community projects. Is there like a synopsis of that?
Yes, there is. Thank you. Anybody want to touch on that? See, the thing is, Faith, I don't think we had any previous committee members from that particular committee, so I'll just address that. So with community projects or community relations, the focus of that is exactly as it sounds. They focus on things that are outreach related, anything that CAB may want to do in partnership with other organizations or even other city boards. And so you will definitely, if you're on community affairs this year, you will definitely be quite busy. We're going to talk about that farther down the agenda. But that's mainly, like I said, in terms of collaborations and partnerships and just making sure that CAB is plugged in to what's going on also on the respective college campuses.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Veterans, you want to add to that? Did I miss anything? Okay, great. Okay, so officers. Who wants to talk about the officers?
I can start by speaking about the secretary position. I was able to be a part of for one semester last year. And in that role, what you do is make sure that you're taking the roll call, ensuring that everyone is there, and updating the spreadsheet when someone may not be able to attend for that day. And then you also follow up with a note sheet and share it with the committee so that we have on file what we spoke about and how we can make that public to learn, to make sure we're following up with all of our projects that are at hand and just ensuring communications between each committee member. And that will be selected from the committee, and whoever wants to join, voted on.
Okay, so I was the historian last year in the executive committee. And so again, like Ali mentioned, that you have the opportunity to work on different committees as well as different things. So as the historian, I was definitely charged with recording, taking pictures of our events, taking pictures of our meetings. Ms. Wanda alluded to it, that being that it's on the city YouTube, it's an official meeting. So what that means in general is that when we meet, we can't meet on our own. We have to meet as an official city board. I think sometimes that gets lost, that we can just do whatever we want to, but it really can't. We operate literally just like any other official board because of its standing. So, and then there was, because I guess no one else is here, so there's the chair. The chair is charged with starting the meetings and then going through the agenda. The vice chair is there in the event the chair cannot be there. Obviously, Cameron did the minutes last year, so it's just functions like any other organization where the chair is the head of the organization, and then we have our agendas and we go through those agendas piece by piece and we discuss them. Whether that means dealing with things that we reporting on our committees or motioning things. Like for instance, we'll probably be doing that in a little while where we motion and make second motions about who might be on whatever committee or elected position. I'll give it back to Ms. Wanda.
Perfect. Thank you, veterans. Any questions at this point about the officers or anything related to that? Because today, we would love for you all to let us know if you are interested in being an officer for CAB. Either chair, vice chair, secretary, or historian. You all have a lot of important work to do. You have a really important date coming up, so it would be very helpful for you to have your officers in place. And so I would suggest that at this time, if anybody is interested in becoming an officer, that you go ahead and let us know in chat which office you may be interested in. Also, officers will include chairing the committees. So you got public relations, community affairs, and government affairs. So there are 3 committees too, if you're interested in chairing one of those. So if you're interested in being an officer or chairing a committee, go ahead and let us know in chat. Doesn't mean you're doing all the work. It just means you're leading the work, because you will have others on your committee if you're going to be a committee head. And if you are interested in a particular officer position, please state what that is. If you know which office you're interested in, chair, secretary.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I just had a quick question before,
yes.
It sounds like something I would be interested in, but before I speak on that, I would like to know a little bit more about what that obligation looks like on a regular basis. So this is all very new to me. I'm not completely sure of how often the meetings are, what sort of time frame they are. So I want to make sure that I'm aware as much as possible so that I can be sure that it's something that I can commit to as far as being a chair.
And you know what, Faith, I greatly appreciate that. You're asking some awesome questions. And so again, I really want our veteran CAB members to address as many of those as possible, because they will have a different perspective than I would or my staff. So veterans, I hope you heard Faith's question. And if you could please address the time commitment and what it would look like to be a leader on CAB.
Okay, so Ali is the secretary. So we voted on the date that we would meet. So we generally meet one day per month. Last year it was a different circumstance, so we were meeting at 7 o'clock. and it was a Tuesday or Wednesday, or we would kind of come together and decide what date was available for all of us would be mutually beneficial. The second part is if you are chair, you do have the responsibility of running the meetings. If you're a vice chair, obviously you need to be there because the chair can't be there. Allie did a great job I'm actually looking at her minutes from last year right now. So Allie did a really great job of disseminating.
Those are Cameron's minutes. I wasn't the secretary.
I'm sorry. I mean, Cameron's minutes of last year. So that obviously is a great responsibility because you have to record everything that's being talked about and discussed. And obviously I was the historian last year, so I was taking pictures as well as being part of different committees and coming up with information for our newsletters. But again, the premium part is, as they say, you need to be present. And if you can't be present and you can't make the commitment to be present, then obviously that would be an issue. But we meet once per month. Unless things have changed, I'll defer to Ms. Wanda. So I think that anybody else can just kind of address that.
I would also like to add, as far as for the different committees, it depends on the time frame and the different events going on for each one as far as the time commitment. But of course, there is an understanding, with different schedules. But I know for the Government Relations Committee, trying to be present at different city council meetings that take place, and for the community relations, being present at some of those events would be very helpful, depending on of course, what time in your schedule looks like.
It is a time commitment, but it is not a time commitment to the extent that it should interfere greatly with your studies or anything like that. We just ask that you take seriously the responsibility of representing your schools, because you were nominated by your school administrators. Somebody thought enough of you to represent the school at City Hall. It's a big responsibility, but we do, as they've said, we work with you. The meeting times and dates are always flexible with CAB because we understand that you all are on different schedules depending on the school. You may have different spring breaks and fall breaks or whatever, and then on top of that, your class schedules are so different. And so last year was a little odd in terms of, as Curtis mentioned, meeting at 7 at night, and things of that nature. That is not the norm at all. We like to meet with CAB much earlier than that, but it really does depend on what your schedule is looking like Monday through Friday, because the meetings are Monday through Friday. So it'd have to be a weekday, and we prefer it be during business hours between 8 and 5. But we understand that may not always work for you all. So we're flexible. So that would be for each CAB to determine. We change it up each semester, quite frankly, because we learned early on that to try to stick to a set date, like the third Tuesday of each month at 12 o'clock. That may not necessarily be convenient in 4 months, or it may not even be convenient next month. So that's a flexible thing. And we always go by what the majority can do, because we understand everybody may not be able to be there, but you do need to make sure your school is represented. If for some reason you cannot make it, we ask that you let us know in advance so that the CAB can vote to grant you an excused absence. And B, if you cannot make it, you need to be talking to your peers at your school to make sure that somebody is representing your school, because something may be voted on or discussed and you do not want your campus to be left out. So that is critical.
Ms. Wanda, I'm looking and I see that we have several interests. Nobody's spoken, but Ian seems to be interested in being an officer. Paulina is interested in being vice chair. Ian is interested in government relations. Myra, I hope I'm not murdering your name. She's interested in vice chair for government relations. Is that the committee, or are you interested in vice chair? And Faith is also interested in being vice chair. If you guys can tell me if I said it right.
And usually, just so you all know, we usually just have a chair for a committee. Usually we don't have a vice chair for the subcommittees. But if somebody wants to co-chair, like if two people want to share that responsibility, that's certainly fine. But usually you just have a chair for the committee. Vice chair would be for all of CAB. But that's up to you all. You can, if you want to have co-chairs for a committee, that's certainly doable. And so now that we see that there is some interest in some of the positions, I think what you all should do at this point is we're going to go into what's called roll call voting. And so as a part of this, what we're going to ask is if you are interested in a particular position, you need to self-introduce again, tell us why you're interested and what makes you a good candidate. And so then CAB will do a roll call vote. Everybody who is assigned to this board, when we're doing virtual meetings, you are required to state your name and you have to say aye or nay whenever there's a call for a vote. Normally we would just have you, everybody could just say it in unison. Everybody could just say aye or no or nay. But because we're doing this virtually, for the record, that it is a city policy and a state requirement that we have you to do the roll call vote verbally. So in other words, whoever is going to volunteer to be our secretary for this meeting, hint, hint, we do need one, we would have that person to just look at the screen and you could just look at everybody's pictures and just call on that person and ask for their vote. So the way my screen looks, I would say Paulina, and she would say, Paulina Page, aye. Ian, he would say Ian Brewster, nay, or whatever he wants to say. And we would just go on like that. Okay? So is there anybody who would like to volunteer to be responsible for leading that effort? We need somebody from CAB to, and veterans, this is really where you would come in handy because you can actually show them how it works with parliamentary procedure and how we vote and so on and so forth.
Generally, since we don't actually have permissions, we don't have positions rather. Cameron's really good. I'm gonna ask Cameron, would you mind?
Cameron, he put you out there.
That's fine with me. I was gonna raise my hand.
Awesome, okay. Awesome. Excellent. And so what we're going to do is let's start with the CAB officers, okay? And so we can start, and if you are interested in a position and for some reason you don't get that particular position, you can run again for a different position. So we can start with historian and work our way up to secretary, vice chair, and then chair. Then we'll go to committees, okay? So Cameron, you're gonna ask for all people interested in historian to begin self-introducing and telling us why they should be chosen.
Okay. Everyone interested in historian, may they please tell us why you're interested and do a self-introduction before we take a vote.
Did we have anyone interested in historian? I didn't look at the chat. I don't know if, did we have anyone?
I don't see anyone there. I just saw a lot of chair and vice chair, and Paulina also was interested in being secretary.
Okay. So I'm wondering if we should go backwards, if we should start with the chair and work our way down.
I think that would work because then we can actually motion and nominate someone.
Well, you could do that too. I don't know how well that'll go over, Curtis, but Curtis is throwing people under the bus today. I don't know.
All right, I'll say that I'm interested in chair.
Okay. Anyone else interested in chair?
I'm also interested in chair.
Okay. We have Curtis and Ian. Anyone else interested in chair? Okay, Curtis and Ian, it's on the two of you. So you will need to self-introduce and you will need to sell yourselves and convince your peers as to why you are the best person. Okay.
Ian, you can go first.
Hello, everyone. Again, I apologize for my slurred speech. You had a little numbness in my mouth from a dentist appointment today. But my name is Ian Brewster. I'm a sophomore at Forsyth Tech Community College. Throughout my journey at Forsyth Tech, I've had the pleasure of gaining very critical management and leadership skills through my mentorship with Dr. Rogers, Beverly Lewis, Kismet Lofton Bell, and following the guidance of my fellow teachers. It would be an honor to serve as the chair for this board to help assist you in motions and leadership. And this would also help me gain knowledge as to how things are operated on this board and in government relations. My major is business administration, and gaining this type of knowledge is essential in me being able to develop and grow as an individual so that I may further be able to positively impact others within my community. And I just want to say, whether I receive this position or not, it is an honor to be a part of this amazing team of individuals. Thank you.
Okay, obviously my name is Curtis Walker. I'm the SGA president for Forsyth Technical Community College, one Phi Theta Kappa International Honor Society, and one of the veteran members of the college advisory boards. I think Ian makes a great candidate. I was kind of hoping that he would step up. Obviously, that is the key, is that we definitely need to fill these positions. In case no one wants to fill the position, then obviously being one of the veterans, I definitely do so. Obviously, as a veteran, I know the inner workings of how CAB works already. Being the SGA president, I definitely have the opportunity to run the entire organization, as well as being on Phi Theta Kappa, which Ian as Paulina as well. So I think that either one of us would be a great candidate. I know that I'm looking forward to seeing everyone and seeing how they work and how we work together. So that's my spiel, and I'll give it back over to Cameron.
Thank you both for sharing. Okay, and we'll start to count votes. So do I just ask name, what is your vote?
Yes, Cameron, that sounds good.
Okay, thank you. So I'm seeing Paulina, what's your vote?
Curtis.
Okay. Okay, Ian, what is your vote? Okay. Is it Myra? What's your vote?
Curtis.
Okay, Curtis, what's your vote? Okay, Iris, what's your vote? That part?
Iris is on staff, Cameron.
Okay, excuse me. Okay, I'm seeing Sophie, what's your vote?
Curtis.
Curtis. Okay, Faith, what's your vote?
Ian.
Okay, Allie, what's your vote?
Curtis.
Curtis. Okay. Is it, I'm sorry, Jada V. Winston-Salem State? Mr. King?
Jadavian, but my vote is Curtis.
Curtis, okay, thank you. And Bruce, what's your vote?
My vote is Ian.
Okay, thank you.
And Cameron, you have to vote as well.
Okay, and I will vote Ian. So we have right now 6 votes for Curtis and 4 votes for Ian.
Okay, thank you, Cameron. So now someone needs to make a motion to elect Curtis as chair of CAB. And then we need a second. And then Cameron, we would need an all in favor. And then that's when you would do the roll call vote, okay? So someone needs to make a motion, someone else needs to second.
So I make the motion to elect Curtis as the chair for Winston-Salem College Advisory Board.
I second.
Okay, and then we can begin our roll call vote. Okay. So, Paulina, would you introduce yourself and aye or nay?
I, Paulina Solis Page.
Okay. Okay, Ian, would you introduce yourself?
Ian Brewster, aye.
Okay. All right. Myra, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Myra Ramirez, yay.
Okay. Curtis, would you please introduce yourself and your vote?
Curtis Walker, aye.
Okay. Jadavian, would you please introduce yourself and your vote?
Jadavian King, aye.
Okay. Sophie, would you please introduce yourself and your vote?
Sophie Brown, aye.
Okay. Faith, would you please introduce yourself and your vote?
Faith Springs, aye.
Thank you. Allie, would you please introduce yourself and your vote?
Allie Morton, aye.
Okay. And Bruce, would you please introduce yourself and your vote?
Bruce Williams III, aye.
Okay. And from right now, it appears, oh, and Cameron Allen, aye. So it appears we have unanimous consent for the vote for the motion to elect Curtis Walker as chair of the College Advisory Board.
Curtis, you get snaps. Yay. Congratulations.
Ms. Wanda, can we skip over to secretary, since I believe that it would probably be unanimous. I would like to, as my first duty, make a motion to elect Ms. Cameron as secretary. Anyone second that motion?
It would be nice to see if Cameron accepts your nomination.
I do see Paulina does have some interest as well. So I will call to the forefront a motion to speak and for each one to present their case to be secretary for this CAB board.
Hi, my name is Paulina Solis Page. I'm from Forsyth Technical Community College, and this is I'm finishing my second year. I wanted to be vice chair, but I see Faith wants to be too, and I didn't see anyone wanting to be secretary, so that's why I showed some interest. So I've had the opportunity to have several leadership positions during my years at Forsyth Tech. I'm currently the North Carolina Regional Vice President of Phi Theta Kappa International Honor Society, as well as Vice President of Leadership for the Alpha Mu Rho Chapter and Student Ambassador. I think I have the skills to be either of those positions, and I would love the experience. And I'm also flexible. My only obligations right now are school and college advisory board.
Hey, thank you, Paulina, for sharing. Again, my name is Cameron. I served as secretary for the College Advisory Board last semester, and I'd be very excited to fill this position to be able to not only organize the thoughts of CAB, but to produce a work that's able to function going forward and what we want to represent for this year. Currently, I'm a senior at Wake Forest University, and in my major of government affairs, it would be an honor to serve on the board to present and welcome that opportunity. And I thank you all. And again, I'm open to any suggestions and we'll make a motion to vote. Okay, so Paulina, what's your vote?
Cameron.
Oh.
Cameron, one thing we need to do, hold on, is we have the motion. Someone needs to second your motion.
Yes, okay.
Curtis, did you say you did?
I put the motion, I need someone to second.
I second.
Okay, Cameron, sorry. Now you can go on.
Great, thank you. Okay, Paulina, what's your vote?
Aye.
Okay. And what's your vote? Ian, what's your vote? I'm sorry.
Cameron.
Thank you. Myra, what's your vote?
Paulina.
Curtis, what's your vote?
Let's see. I'll go with Paulina. Yeah.
Okay. Jadavian, what's your vote?
Paulina.
Sophie, what's your vote?
Paulina.
Faith, what's your vote?
Cameron.
Okay. Allie, what's your vote?
Paulina.
Okay. And Bruce, what's your vote?
Paulina.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so it appears we have 7 votes for Paulina and 2 votes for Cameron. So we'll be making a motion to elect Paulina as the Secretary for College Advisory Board for this year. Okay, so
Motion. Someone, we need a motion.
I'll start that thing.
Someone needs to make the motion first and then you second.
I motion that we elect Paulina Page for Secretary for College Advisory Board of Winston-Salem for school year 2020.
Now second the motion to appoint Paulina.
all right, and Paulina, let's see, I'll make the motion for a roll call vote. So Paulina, would you please introduce yourself and your vote?
Paulina Solis Page, aye.
Okay. Ian, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Ian Brewster, aye.
Okay. Myra, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Myra Ramirez, aye.
Okay. Curtis, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Curtis Walken, aye.
Okay. Jadavian, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Jadavian King, aye.
Okay. Sophie, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Sophie Brown, aye.
Okay. Faith, would you introduce yourself?
Faith Springs, aye.
Allie, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Allie Morton, aye.
Okay. And Bruce, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Bruce Williams III, aye.
Perfect, and we have unanimous consent to elect Paulina Page as the next Secretary of College Advisory Board.
Congratulations to Paulina. Okay, so now you all need to vote on the vice chair. So those who are interested in being vice chair, we need for you to do your little commercials now. Time for your spiels. State your name, your school, your year, and why you want to be vice chair of CAB. Why should CAB elect you?
Okay, I can begin. My name is Faith Springs. I am at Forsyth Tech Community College. I am a sophomore and a engineering major. So I think that I would be a great candidate for the vice chair for several reasons. I do have experience with being like an organization coordinator with doing minutes, organizational things with churches that have similar board structures. I have some flexibility, self-motivated, and I don't think that there's going to be a big difference. I think there'll be a smooth transition in the event that the chair cannot function for that day. I think that being an engineering major is also a benefit for me in that aspect. The engineering that I'm studying, industrial, focuses on processes, meetings. I've done several like focus groups, public speaking, and things such as that. And I just think it would be an honor for me to be able to do that.
Thank you, Faith. Would anyone else be interested in the vice chair position? Okay, so we'll begin to start our vote to make a motion for Faith to become the vice chair position of CAB for this year. I will make the motion.
I second the motion.
Let's see. Paulina. Okay, and Paulina, what's your vote?
I vote Faith.
Okay. Should I do the roll call vote or proceed like this? Okay, sorry, Paulina. Ian, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Ian Brewster, aye.
Okay, Myra, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Myra Ramirez, aye.
Curtis, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Curtis Walker and Faith.
Okay. Jadavian, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Jadavian King, aye.
Okay. Sophie, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Sophie Brown, aye.
Okay. Allie, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Allie Morton, aye.
Faith, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Faith Springs, aye.
Okay. And Bruce, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Bruce Williams, aye.
Okay, perfect. All right, so it looks like there's a consent to move for Faith to become the vice chair of CAB for this year.
Congratulations, Faith. Okay, we still need to have a historian. You know, the historian, just make sure that you take pictures. That's pretty much what it is. You take pictures at the different programs we may have. And like today, if you're a historian, maybe you would take a picture of us on this meeting. So it's really, it's an officer's position, but you don't necessarily have to have a lot of time consuming things. You could do maybe a digital album of CAB at the end of the year or by the end of the year. You just add pictures to the digital album, something like that. So no one wants to be historian, really?
I'll nominate someone. Who?
Myra.
Oh, Myra, you're interested in being historian?
Yeah.
Aren't you awesome? Well, thank you. So y'all need to do, need a motion to accept Myra as historian, need a second, and then roll call vote.
I motion that we elect Myra as our historian.
I second.
Your motion?
Thank you, Jadavian, for the second.
Thank you, and we'll begin our roll call vote for Myra to become the historian for CAB for this year. So Paulina, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Paulina Page, aye.
Ian, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Ian Brewster, aye.
Thank you. Myra, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Myra Ramirez, aye.
Okay, Curtis, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Curtis Walker, Myra, aye.
Thank you. Jadavian, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Jadavian King, aye.
Okay. Sophie, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Sophie Brown, aye.
Faith, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Faith Springs, aye.
Okay. Bruce, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Bruce Williams III, aye.
Okay. And Cameron Allen, aye. It appears maybe Allie stepped off. But as of right now, we have unanimous consent to move for Myra to become the historian for CAB for this year.
Congratulations, Myra. Okay, everybody, we need to decide who wants to chair committees. And do we have anybody who knows they want to chair a committee? Because we can move this along a little quicker for the committee chairs.
I'd like to be governmental affairs chair.
Okay. Jadavian? Oh, we just missed him. He had to leave early, he said. to go to class. Anybody interested in public affairs or community affairs?
I can share community affairs or community projects.
Okay, wow, thank you, Faye. Anybody for, Faith, what did you just say, public or community? You said community, right?
Community.
Okay, so now we need public. Ian, how committed are you to government? Would you consider public?
You do both of them?
Well, you could, you could, because I'm thinking that for government, you probably, I think Allie may co-chair with you. I think she may.
Yeah, if I had a co-chair for public, I'd definitely be interested in partaking in both roles.
Okay, I think she would help you co-chair government. I'm sorry if I misspoke, because she was on government last year, and I was chatting with her in the chat about this, and so she may co-chair government with you if no one else is interested, and then if no one else is interested in public affairs, you know, if you wanted to do that, that's fine.
I could be interested in public affairs if Ian feels more comfortable, stay in his chair as the government affairs.
Yeah, I'd like the governmental affairs chair.
Okay, okay, thank you. So anyone else interested in chairing any of those? Because if not, we can just do a motion to accept those who have volunteered to chair those committees. Ian, I volunteered Allie. I told her not to be surprised. So let's put a question mark on her co-chairing, but she definitely wants to be on the committee with you, she said. And public affairs, Cameron, we've got you. And then Faith, we have you for community. So we need a motion to have all those names and committees, as I just stated.
Okay, I will make the motion to,
Okay, Cameron, I'm sorry.
I'll make the motion to enact Ian and Allie as the government affairs chairs, Faith as community affairs chair, and Cameron as public affairs chair for CAB this year.
I second the motion.
And then we can begin our roll call vote. Okay, so Paulina, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Paulina Page, aye.
Okay. Ian, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Ian Brewster, aye.
Okay. Myra, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Myra Ramirez, aye.
Okay. Curtis, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Curtis Walker, aye.
Okay. Sophie, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Sophie Brown, aye.
Thank you. And Bruce, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Bruce Williams III, aye.
Okay. And Faith, would you introduce yourself and your vote?
Faith Springs, aye.
All right, thank you. So it appears we have you.
Cameron, don't forget to vote.
Oh, Cameron Allen, aye. Okay, thank you. So now it looks like we have unanimous consent to enact all the chairs for the committees this year.
Awesome, good job, and congratulations to our committee chairs.
Yes.
Congratulations. So CAB, you now have your your leadership rather, you have your leadership team. And so that is a very big deal, and that's a very good thing. And you know who the committee leaders are, and if other members are added to CAB as the year continues, then they will select a committee on which to serve, okay? So you're looking good. So going down to the last item on the agenda, we have new business reminders. The National League of Cities new community of practice item is extremely important, and that's what I've been wanting to talk to you all about. And I hate it that Jadavian left, but I'm glad Bruce is still here from WSSU. what is happening is the city of Winston-Salem, through our department, is working with Winston-Salem State University on a National League of Cities initiative. That initiative, as stated on your agenda, is the community of practice. And so what that initiative is addressing the basic needs of post-secondary students. So the National League of Cities is a national organization that works with cities on new initiatives, best practices, programming, and things of that nature. And they provide technical support and assistance. And sometimes they even give awards for this type of work. And so I saw the grant opportunity. It was presented by Mayor Pro Tem Denise Adams, and she asked that we go for it and see if we could apply. And so I got together with Mr. Cornelius Graves over at Winston-Salem State University and with the Chancellor, Dr. Robinson, and we all agreed with Mayor Alan Joines, partner on submitting a proposal to the National League of Cities for something that we could do for college students. And so what we submitted essentially stems from addressing housing needs and food insecurity for college students in our community. So we're partnering with Winston-Salem State, and they are going to be the hub campus for what we're doing. We need further clarification as to whether or not we could extend that to other campuses. But right now it is with Winston-Salem State University. And we're hoping to model something NC State University is doing. And they have a PAC program. And so in their PAC program, what they do is they make food available for all students who are experiencing food insecurity. Because right now we understand that with the pandemic and all of the restrictions, a lot of jobs that college students would ordinarily have and as a resource for funding and so forth, they may or may not have right now. And so a lot of people may be going hungry. A lot of people may not be able to focus on class or on other things that are college related that they may need to do. And so we thought that this would be a great project to implement here in Winston-Salem to address that need. But we also recognize it's not just about food insecurity, it could be about housing insecurity too. And so there are lots of college students who may have housing challenges. Everyone may not be able to reside on campus. And if they are used to living off campus, do they have the money? Do they have the income to be able to sustain that housing? And so we're going to be exploring solutions for the food insecurity and the housing insecurity right here in our community amongst your peer group. So that is where the College Advisory Board comes into play. And that is why I mentioned earlier that the Community Affairs Committee is going to be busy, because we are going to definitely need to provide outreach, and we're going to need to collaborate with WSSU and hopefully some others on trying to come up with solutions to help college students with food insecurity and housing insecurity. So that is a very big nutshell of what that program is about for us. People could focus on different areas like transportation and other things, because it was open for national competition, and they were only going to select 13 cities out of the whole country. And Winston-Salem's proposal was one of the 13 that was accepted. So this is a big deal, everybody. And we're having an orientation meeting this week. And so that is why I wanted you all to go ahead and have your leadership in place so that those of you who can join that meeting, because we need a delegation from Winston-Salem on this meeting. And Jamie or Carlin, do you happen to have written down the date and the time for the meeting this week? I have it somewhere, but I don't have it in front of me.
I believe it's Thursday at 3 o'clock.
That sounds right, Jamie. So if you all can make it on that call on Thursday at 3 o'clock, especially you, Bruce, I'm putting you on the spot. We really want you to be on that call to listen, because it's an orientation The National League of Cities will be talking about the program. They'll be talking about the assistance they provide. And by the way, this is a 2-year initiative. So it's just getting started, really hasn't even started yet, but it will continue on, thanks Bruce, for 2 years to have the technical assistance provided from the National League of Cities. And so obviously the College Advisory Board is the logical group to be involved in this initiative. And so we really want you all to be heavily involved. Do most people think they are able to join in on that orientation call? We'll all be learning together because we don't know a lot about it either. We were just notified that we were one of the 13 cities selected nationwide. So we don't know a whole lot more than what I'm telling you right now. So we'll be learning together. But in the meantime, are there any questions about that? I'll answer what I can, but I don't know a lot right now.
Would you send us the link for the meeting, or is it open?
Yes, thank you, Myra. Yeah, that would help, wouldn't it? So Carlin or Jamie, one of you, would you send CAB the link to the meeting to make sure that they are able to get on for Thursday at 3 o'clock? Thanks again, Myra. Any other questions? Anything I might have forgotten to mention that you need to know at this point? And Bruce, make sure you talk to Mr. Graves, excuse me, okay?
Yeah, I was just about to go talk to him after I leave.
Okay, that would be awesome. And pull Jadavian in on that conversation whenever you get a chance. I know he said he had class right now.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions at this point. So we're going to move on. Monthly meeting schedule, as we already talked about, we do it as needed. And I'm going to skip that for a second, go down to newsletters. For those of you who are on, well, I guess it's just Faith right now, who is, no, I'm sorry, it's not Faith. Thank you, Curtis. Who's public affairs?
It'll be Cameron.
Cameron. Okay, so the newsletter, you can go ahead and start thinking about it, Cameron. You know, we usually try to have the newsletter ready by November, the fall newsletter. And so the National League of Cities initiative might be a good one to focus on because you'll have more information after Thursday. And then we usually have the chairperson to do an article, self-introducing, and then we'll just move forward from there, okay? Now, going back to the monthly meetings, when is a good time for you all to meet in October? Does this time of day work for most of you? Does it need to be a little earlier, maybe 11:30? Because I know a couple of people had 1 o'clock classes. I mean, let's talk about that. Any thoughts? How's 30?
During the day is a little difficult for me unless it's at like 2 o'clock. Other than that, like after 5.
Okay, 2 o'clock works well for Faith. Sophie, you were nodding. Were you going to say something?
My mornings are pretty packed with classes, so my afternoons are generally better. And like Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons are better than like Monday or Wednesday.
Okay. So we're looking at Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. Does that sound good for most of you?
I work most of the afternoons, so anytime before 5, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday will work for me.
Okay, so generally if we're looking at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday or Thursday, does that work for most everybody? Okay, I'm not hearing any no, so I'm assuming it's okay.
Can we see thumbs up?
Yeah, that's a thumbs up will work too. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So let's look at Tuesdays and Thursdays, Jamie, in October, because I know we do have some things going on in October as a department. We don't want any conflicts. So do you see anything, Jamie, around the middle of the month towards the latter part of the month.
Let me see, I'm pulling it up here.
Okay. It would be good to be able to brief CAB on whatever we learn on the call this week. So I didn't want to wait too long, but whatever works.
It looks like the 13th or the 20th would be good.
Anybody have a preference for the 13th or the 20th?
The 13th works for me right as it stands right now.
Okay. It's only 2 weeks away, but it might be good to get back together after this orientation call. What do y'all think?
I know the 13th is not going to work for me. I'm a part of the Thurgood Marshall Leadership Institute, so I'll probably be busy like that whole day for like 4 days to the 17th. The 20th will probably be best for me.
Okay, is the 20th best for everybody or good for everybody?
I can make that work.
Okay, y'all, so let's look at the 20th at 2 o'clock, okay? October 20th at 2 o'clock. Jamie, is that a Thursday?
No, that's a Tuesday, and
Okay.
I just looked at the monthly meeting calendar, and it looks like that should be available too. So that's good.
Awesome.
Okay. I'm about to go talk to Mr. Graves now. So what would you like me to mention? Like, would you like some more clarification or?
No, I kind of was the one who pulled him in, Bruce.
Okay, I'm about to go
So
talk to
he
him
may
right
be
now.
the one looking for clarification, actually, but I don't have any right now other than what I've already shared with him. We'll be learning more when we do the orientation call.
Okay.
Thursday. Okay, everyone, we need a motion to adjourn if there's no other business to discuss. Now that you have your meeting date, you have your officers, and we'll be sending an email with all of this information. So if there's no other business, we need a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion to adjourn this meeting.
Thanks, Cameron. Need a second.
I second.
Thank you, Ian. So now you all need an all in favor roll call. You can just state your first name and say aye or nay if you're not ready to adjourn.
Ian Brewster, aye.
Paulina Page, aye.
Curtis Walker, aye.
Sophie Brown, aye.
Bruce Williams III, aye.
Faith Springs, aye.
Cameron Allen, aye. Looks like there's unanimous consent to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, everybody, great job, Cab. Thank you so much. You all have a wonderful remainder of your week, and we will get back together on the, what was it, Jamie?
The 20th at 2 o'clock.
20th at 2 o'clock. Thanks again. Take care.
Thank you.
Check your emails. Check your emails.